North Korea is often described as the world's most isolated country, with a tightly controlled society that operates under an authoritarian regime. Governed by the Kim dynasty, the nation enforces extreme measures to maintain its grip on power, keeping its citizens cut off from the rest of the world. The government exercises total control over all aspects of life, from information and media to daily activities and beliefs. Any deviation from the state's mandates is met with severe consequences, often involving public shaming, imprisonment, or even execution. The country's isolation is not just physical, but also cultural, as the regime works tirelessly to prevent any foreign influence that might challenge its authority. One chilling example of the regime's ruthless enforcement of its rules occurred in a crowded stadium, where 10,000 people gathered to witness a grim spectacle. Among them was a 17-year-old boy who was brutally shot in front of the crowd, his mother weeping and clapping simultaneously, a reflection of the terror and coercion that permeates North Korean society. The boy's crime? Listening to K-pop music from South Korea, an act deemed dangerous by the regime for its potential to expose citizens to foreign ideas and undermine the state's propaganda. The crowd's reaction, including the boy's mother's coerced applause, highlights the pervasive fear and indoctrination that shape public behavior in North Korea. The death penalty is alarmingly common in North Korea, used not only as a tool for punishment, but also as a means of instilling fear and obedience among the populace. The regime's intolerance for dissent or disobedience is starkly illustrated by the case of a woman and her young son, who were captured and executed after attempting to escape to China in 2017. Their story is one of many that underscore the brutal reality faced by those who dare to defy the state's oppressive rules. These public executions serve as a grim reminder to the citizens of the consequences of stepping out of line, reinforcing the state's absolute control. North Korea's government exerts tight control over cultural and informational content, enforcing strict rules against foreign influences such as music, movies, and literature. The regime views these external elements as potential threats to its authority, fearing they could introduce ideas that challenge the state's narrative. As a result, consuming or possessing foreign media is a serious crime, punishable by harsh penalties. The state's propaganda machine works incessantly to glorify the supreme leader and the ruling family, portraying them as near-divine figures who are the saviors and protectors of the nation. From a young age, citizens are indoctrinated with a carefully curated version of history and reality, designed to foster loyalty and suppress dissent. This propaganda is omnipresent, permeating education, media, and even everyday conversations, leaving little room for independent thought or expression. In North Korea, every aspect of life is closely monitored by the state, with severe punishments meted out for even minor infractions. Rule breaking can lead to public executions, which are not only a means of punishment, but also a tool of intimidation to deter others from similar actions. Imprisonment in brutal labor camps is another common consequence, where detainees face harsh conditions and forced labor. The pervasive surveillance and the threat of severe repercussions ensure that citizens remain compliant and fearful. The state media and educational system play crucial roles in this control, perpetuating a narrative that glorifies the leadership and demonizes foreign influences. From a young age, North Koreans are indoctrinated with propaganda, which shapes their worldview and discourages any form of dissent or curiosity about life beyond their borders. The economic situation in North Korea is dire, with most citizens struggling to meet their basic needs. Employment opportunities are limited, and those who do have jobs often receive meager wages that are insufficient to support themselves and their families. Government-issued ration cards provide minimal food supplies, but these rations are often inadequate, leaving many to fend for themselves. The cost of living is high, with essential items like rice being prohibitively expensive relative to the average income. As a result, illegal activities such as black market trading have become a crucial means of survival for many. Despite the risks, these underground economies provide essential goods and services that are otherwise inaccessible, highlighting the stark disparity between the state's promises and the reality of daily life. Compulsory military service is a cornerstone of North Korean society, with all citizens required to serve. Men typically serve until the age of 60, while women are required to serve until they are 23. The military is not only a tool for national defense, but also a means of enforcing loyalty and control. For some, it offers a rare opportunity for a stable income and better living conditions. albeit at the cost of personal freedom. Within this system, there are special units like the Pleasure Squad, which consists of women selected to provide entertainment and companionship to the country's elite. The existence of such squads underscores the regime's exploitation and control over its citizens, particularly women, who are subjected to a different set of rules and expectations. The living conditions in North Korea are starkly divided along social lines. The majority of the population faces poor living conditions, with inadequate housing, chronic malnutrition, and limited access to healthcare. The government's distribution system often fails to provide sufficient food, forcing many to rely on black markets or forage for wild foods. In contrast, the elite class, composed of high-ranking officials and their families, enjoys significantly better living conditions. They have access to better food, housing, and luxury goods, often sourced from abroad. This social hierarchy is maintained through a system of rewards and punishments, where loyalty to the regime can lead to privileges, while perceived disloyalty results in severe penalties. The disparity between the elite and the general population highlights the unequal distribution of resources and the entrenched social stratification within North Korean society. North Korean prison camps, also known as Kwanliso, are notorious for their brutal conditions and forced labor. Inmates, often political prisoners or those accused of minor infractions, are subjected to grueling work schedules, inadequate food, and unsanitary living conditions. These camps are a stark representation of the regime's disregard for basic human rights. Prisoners are stripped of their dignity and forced to endure harsh treatment, including physical abuse and torture. Disobedience or failure to meet work quotas can result in severe punishment, including beatings or execution. A defector, Shin Dong-hyuk, who was born and raised in such a camp, described the complete absence of freedom and the dehumanizing conditions. His testimony revealed a life devoid of basic rights, where even familial bonds were non-existent, and survival was a daily struggle. The psychological toll on North Korean citizens is profound, stemming from constant surveillance, indoctrination, and a climate of fear. The state's pervasive control extends beyond physical punishment. It instills a deep-seated anxiety and mistrust among the populace. Citizens are conditioned from a young age to revere the supreme leader and view any deviation from state-approved norms as a betrayal. This intense pressure, combined with the harsh realities of daily life, leads to widespread depression and trauma. Many North Koreans suffer in silence, unable to openly discuss their feelings or seek help. The constant bombardment of propaganda further alienates individuals, making it difficult to distinguish reality from state-crafted narratives. The emotional strain is compounded by the knowledge that any dissent, even within the privacy of one's home, can have dire consequences. Escaping from North Korea is a perilous endeavor fraught with immense risks. Defectors must navigate a treacherous path, often crossing the heavily guarded borders into China, where they face the threat of being caught and repatriated. The journey is not only physically challenging, but also mentally exhausting, as defectors must evade capture and avoid exploitation. Those who are caught attempting to flee are subjected to severe punishment, including imprisonment, torture, or even execution. Despite these dangers, many choose to escape, driven by the hope of a better life and freedom from the oppressive regime. The stories of successful defectors highlight both the incredible resilience of these individuals and the desperate conditions they are fleeing. The harsh reality of life in North Korea, as detailed in this video, is a sobering reminder of the lengths to which an authoritarian regime will go to maintain control. From the brutal prison camps to the relentless propaganda, the North Korean government exerts total dominance over its citizens' lives. It is a place where basic freedoms are non-existent, and even the simplest acts, like listening to foreign music, can result in death. For those of us who live in freer societies, it is essential to recognize and appreciate the liberties we often take for granted. By sharing this video, you can help raise awareness about the plight of the North Korean people and support efforts to bring about change. If you found this video informative, please like, comment, and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more in-depth explorations of global issues. Thank you for watching, and let's continue to shine a light on these critical stories.